Well, hello there, and welcome back. This is episode 25 of my Minecraft 1.15 Let's Play. I'm having a bit of an item overflow issue here at my storage system. It doesn't help that I never truly dealt with all the honey from my bee farm, but there's quite a bit of other overflow that's going into all of this. There's a lot of items until I'm all the way up in my top shulker box up here, so lots and lots of overflow items that I do not have proper storage for. And it's getting pretty bad over here as well. I've added a number of farms and I haven't added proper storage for them. It's especially egregious here at the mob drops where I've got these two barrels full of shulker boxes, and they're holding 6 different types of items. So gunpowder, bone, wither roses, blaze rods, spider eyes, ender pearl. Technically honey should go here as well. So I definitely need another row for mob drops. I also definitely need another row for wood here, because you saw there was a number of signs in there, and there's just not enough storage for all of this stuff. And then I've got so many shulker boxes full of jungle logs that, you know, this barrel is basically almost full, and I can't actually put many regular just logs in here. So I think I need another row for that. The treasures here and the redstone already has 2 rows, but I think it's time to expand all this over here and then move some of this over into this section and still leave some room for terracotta and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely need to do some maintenance here and sort everything out. It definitely helps a lot that these are all in shulker boxes, so that's actually a big reason why I did that, is because it makes it really easy to move things around. Alright, I've got everything resorted, and I've got some extra spaces here, and they're a little more spread out than they were before, which is probably for the better. It allows me to reorganize things a little easier in the future. And I've moved the barrels up to the top because I tend to pull the shulker boxes down from time to time, and it's easier the lower they are. So having the barrels to the top, these are generally for just when I want to grab a shulker box full of something, so that works out pretty well. And then there's one other thing I want to do here at my base, and that's this tower right here. I said in, I think it was my last episode, might have been the episode before that, that there was something a little bit off about the top of this building here. And I think a big part of it is that it's so much taller than everything else. Its proportions are just a little bit off of everything else. I think I want to take the top 2 layers off. I've already gotten 2 shulker boxes full of cactus, and I've put 2 new shulker boxes in, and those are pretty full. So I think I'm going to be good on, I could probably just tear this whole thing down, but I'd like to keep it around. I think it's a good looking building, but I think it's just a tiny bit too tall, and it might help the proportions a little bit if I just take out these top 2 layers. Alright, there's this slightly shorter building there. I think it actually does look quite a bit better. Even if I'm just taking 2 layers off the top, I think it just improves the proportions. Yeah, I think that works out pretty well. I'm pretty satisfied with that. In my last episode, I worked on a wither rose farm, which got me a whole bunch of wither roses, which is a big component of what I'm going to need to make a wither skeleton farm. And I was going to build that wither skeleton farm in this episode, but I got an idea that's a little bit over the top. I mentioned in the past that all of the nether fortresses that I found are buried in netherrack, just like this one is. And I've done a bunch of button placing around this nether fortress, but there is still a long, long way to go. And I could either finish up all this button placement, or I could try and find another nether fortress that's a little... Ooh, hi guys. How you doing? That's a little better suited for building a wither skeleton farm. But I think what I really want to do, what I think it would be really kind of cool to do, is to actually just set up a nether perimeter. And by that I mean remove all of the blocks within the AFK radius. So it would be 128 blocks from the AFK spot in every direction. Just remove all of the blocks, which is somewhere around 5 million blocks. I'll go into more detail when I get closer to actually setting it up, which will almost certainly not be in this episode. But this is a design by Fallen Breath that is based on a design by Il Mango, and it's a world eater, and this one's been compacted so that it will work better in the nether. And this is going to take quite a bit of work to do, but I think it's kind of cool. This does dupe TNT. There's not really any other way to do it. You can't move dispensers or anything like that. But the one real big component here is that if you're building something of this size in the nether, you can't have gas spawning and blowing it up. So what I really need to do first before I do anything involved with any of these flying machines is to set up something that keeps mobs from spawning, which is traditionally called a mob switch. Now, one thing I could do is I could come here to my guardian farm and I could remove the wither roses that are inside of there, and then I could have my second account go to the other side and it would quickly overload the mob cap, and then I could have it just step through this portal and then stand here, block this off so he's safe, and then just AFK here, and that would effectively be a mob switch. But I don't want to use my second account as a player device. It's there for making videos and time lapses and stuff like that. It's not an option that everybody has, certainly not in single player worlds, and even in multiplayer worlds you might not be able to find a friend who's willing to just stand there and do nothing in order to keep the mobs from spawning in the nether. And besides, I think it's just not plain as interesting as actually going to the work of setting up a mob switch. I spent a few hours working on this, and I'm glad I didn't spend too long on it, because this right here does not work. So what this is this right here is a chunk loader, and I've got the exact same thing sitting in the overworld at the exact same position, and it collects an item through the nether portal and then spits it out back into the other side. And by cycling an item back and forth through the nether portal, it keeps these chunks loaded. This actually works just fine, and I will use this design for something else in the fairly near future. And then, but what doesn't work is that it's supposed to keep, so this keeps this chunk loaded and these chunks right one chunk away loaded as regular entity processing chunks, and then it keeps this chunk right here as what's called a lazy chunk, where it still keeps it loaded but it doesn't do any entity processing in this chunk. And so the idea was that I've got a spawner here, so I stand here and I wait for 71 blazes to spawn, and I just keep them in a big old cage here, and then I would go back through the nether portal, and because it's in a lazy chunk, it wouldn't do the entity processing required to despawn this. But apparently in 1.15 that's actually been fixed. They still don't do entity processing, but it does check to see if it should despawn. And then they will despawn normally. So I tested this in creative and it worked fine. And I think the difference is that I use spawn eggs in creative, and there's probably something different about how those despawn versus regular entities that were spawned via spawner. That's just a guess, but it doesn't work. I've checked through multiple sources, and yeah, in 1.15, entities in lazy chunks still despawn normally. So that means there's only two types of mobs that don't despawn normally, and those are the only two kinds that I can use for a mob switch, and those are withers and shulkers. And I'm not going to use withers for a number of reasons, not the least of which is that I need this mob switch in order to actually set up my wither skeleton farm, so there's a little bit of a circular logic there. So I've never done this before, and I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it this episode, but I still think I really do want to set up a perimeter in the nether. I think that'd be cool, even if it's going to require quite a bit of work. I think it'd be a kind of a cool thing to do. So I'm going to go on into the end, and I'm going to try and collect 71 shulkers. And it's going to be a pain in my butt, but let's see. I have never done it before, so we'll see how it goes. The reason it worked in creative, by the way, is because I was doing it in a world where mob spawning was turned off. And somehow I didn't notice that. So of course it worked. Of course there were no mobs. Real genius at work here. I've been through this portal about a dozen times for shulker box hunting, and I have gone about 20,000 blocks at least in every direction. There are no nearby end cities anywhere near that portal. So this is definitely not the one I want to use if I need to transport things back and forth. So I guess we're going to need to respawn the dragon. So let's come on over to the end portal. And this should be fairly trivial at this point. I've got an elytra, I've got great armor, everything like that. So we'll get the egg here out of the way. I think that moved it. It's hard to see in this area. And then I believe what we do is we just put it right here. And let's spawn us an ender dragon. There we go. Alright, he's got just a sliver of health. Can we get one more shot in here? There we go. Alright. Fight took longer than I'd like to admit. It wasn't super hard. The elytra definitely makes the end crystals easier to break, but I'm a horrible shot with a bow, especially on the move. And these endermen are a pain in my butt. But yeah, okay, so should have opened an end portal around here somewhere. There we go. I found this end city here that's actually pretty close. It's a few hundred blocks from my portal, which is back there somewhere. And I've got an ender chest full of rails here. So that's going to be my initial approach, is I'm going to try and build a rail line. Fortunately, this thing's pretty big, so I might be able to get 20, 30 shulkers out of it, hopefully. We'll see how it goes. I got to try not killing any of them, which is going to be a little bit hard. So let me build the rail back to the portal there, and then we'll go into this end city and see how things go. Wouldn't you know it, I set up this whole rail going all the way. You can't even see the end of it down there, and I have already been to this end city. So I must have flown here from the other portal or something like that. It looks like there's actually one shulker right here. So I might as well grab him, and I can at least use him as a test run. But yeah, nothing's working out for me today. I should have checked this first. Oh, there's another one. So I got a couple test subjects. But yeah, not fun. Alright, I'm testing a few things here. I've got this guy right here, by the way. So apparently I missed a couple of them. So let's see if we can get him. Nope, that doesn't work. I don't know how to... If I can't put him in through a block underneath, I don't know how I'm going to get him into a minecart. I know they'll go in them. Alright, let's try this slightly different rail configuration here. Hopefully I can get this before... There we go. Okay. And then if I... Hey! How far does he fall? Does he fall on the rail and does he die? That's the other thing I wanted to test. And apparently I got an enderman friend down here that wants to kill me. He fell on the rail and... He did not die, but he's still opening. Oh, that's kind of annoying. Nope. Oh, that pushed him. Alright, I need some power rails in front of him. Let me fix all this. Oh, it looks like he's slowly getting there on his own. He's not losing momentum, and then he'll hit this powered rail, and he should get going. Alright, let's fly after him. Oh, I'm gonna die. There we go. Alright, there he goes. Up into the portal. Did he go through on his own, or do I need to take him out of the cart? Is the other question I have here. Looks like he might have gone through on his own. I don't know how he... It must have been his momentum stayed. So I might actually just be able to put a rail here and then rail line it. That's even a straight shot straight to that portal. That's kind of awesome. Let's... see if we can get that working. It's pretty clear to me now that I'm going to need some potions of invisibility if I want to get anything done whatsoever. Let's take all this stuff off. Alright, let's try... I've tried a bunch of things that I did not mean for that to happen. Get out of there, Enderman. I've tried a bunch of things that have been unsuccessful. Nope, that one didn't work. Oh, there we go! Go, 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 go. Go, go. Oh, come on. Why'd you stop? That doesn't make any sense. And also, he can see me even with my elytra off, which is a little bit ridiculous. I don't know why that works. Let's try one more thing. This Enderman's in the way. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. I don't have any armor on. Oh, hey. I'll take that. And, apparently I almost die. There we go. I don't have anything to say to what's going on right here. So let's send this Enderman over. And can I... Maybe if I turn the bounty boxes on... How do I hit this? I don't know what to do here. So I'm not sure I can do anything about this. I can't... I think because of the portal blocks... I can't hit it. Maybe from... No, there's no underside. Yeah, I don't know. I think I need an activator rail, so they always get off on the right side. So if I bring the rail along this side and then put an activator rail, although they might just jump off into this side because this side has the block. I'm not sure exactly what to do about this. So I did some testing and I found that activator rails only cause them to teleport. And then I was watching a video by Exuma where he talked about moving shulkers, and he did so in a boat. And I definitely want to use minecarts because I think it's going to be quite a bit faster. But the same principle basically applies. So I've slabbed up the entire area so they can teleport within 10 blocks, and then I've got an activator rail right here. And then the idea is that that will cause them to teleport, and there are only 4 blocks that they can teleport, and those are on the sides of these bedrock right here. And there are pistons right here, and they can actually teleport to the sides of pistons, which is funny. So I have to put buttons and blocks on the sides of those. And then so if I put a shulker here and then get him in a cart, I'm gonna put a rail down and send him with another cart. And I'll actually stay here and try to find a spot to teleport. And he'll miss a whole bunch, and then eventually he will hit one of those 4 spots right there. And it might take a while. I've had it. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's all random. So there we go. So we got one of those 4 spots, and then I can actually push these convenient buttons, and that'll push him into the portal, and there's nowhere else for him to go. So I think this is going to work. My guy in the portal right now, he's probably done for. There's probably nothing I can do to save him. I'm going to try, but I think this will work going forward. Sadly, the shulker in the portal did not make it. I tried to get him to teleport. He would not teleport. They never teleport when you want them to, huh? And so I had to kill him in order to get rid of him. But I prepped this area all up. Hopefully, I did not miss any blocks that they could teleport to. I think we're mostly good here. Looks like everything's good. I use buttons instead of slabs, and also I discovered that end rods on pistons won't break when you fire the piston, so that'll keep them from teleporting onto the sides of the pistons. So everything looks good here. And then I was watching a video by Il Mango where he was doing the same thing, and he had some sort of like a staging. I was thinking of building a staging area anyway so that I can bring multiple shulkers here at the same time. And I tried using his and it did not work. But what I came up with is his had like a rail here, and there was some sort of glitch. It was like 4 years ago, and it just doesn't work anymore. So basically what I've got instead is this is going to be like a Pez dispenser kind of thing. They'll land on this block and they'll stack on top of each other. And then if I put a button here and fire off this piston, the one on the bottom will get pushed onto this rail. Another thing I learned from Il Mango's video is you can do a turn right like this, right next to him, and it should grab them. Oh, he took a little bit damage there. But yeah, that worked great. Fantastic. All right, and then let me move him out of the way. There's actually another one up there, so I missed at least 4 of them in this end city. So thank you, me, for doing that. Oh, I don't have an elytra. Oh, shoot. All right, I got all 3 of them here. There might be more up there. I'll do another double check in a little bit, but I think 3 is enough to go for a run for now. So we should be able to power these rails here. And let's get a minecart ourselves and follow these guys. All right, the Pez dispenser didn't work. I actually came through the portal, and this one right here, just like, it didn't even land on, landed on a random block and just flew off in a direction. So I don't know where the other 2 went. It's worth mentioning that in Il Mango's video, what he did was actually ran a bridge all the way across the 1,000 blocks. I was trying to avoid that, but that might not be avoidable just because I've lost 2 of them. I don't know where they went. Are these just all 3 of them? Okay, all 3 of them are on the same block. So they just land on a random block and then just fly off. So they're all right there. That's one thing. All right. All right, this is probably going to cause some issues, but let's just do it that way. Let's send all... Oh, shoot, that's not what I wanted. This has been ever the adventure. Oh, my invisibility is wearing out. There we go. They can't really all go through that at the same time. That's why I wanted a staging thing. Because they sit there. Oh, I don't have an elytron. Shoot. And it broke. Oh, I used netherrack, so the, the Enderman moved it. In an absolute comedy of errors, I lost those 3 shulkers. They were on top of this minecart right here. And I placed a rail right there, and they all glitched diagonally and just floated off into the void. And they're gone. And, yeah, I mean, all I can do is laugh. I mean, so, lessons learned. I guess let's build a bridge out that way for 1,000 blocks. That's going to suck, especially with all the rails. And I'll do it that way. And don't build this out of netherrack. And then hopefully, oh, that Enderman hates me now. Hopefully everything goes a little bit better the next time around. Let's try this again. We've got us a fairly decent sized end city here. I have definitely not been here. And so let's start with these 2 that are out front. See if we can get those wrangled onto this rail and see how that one goes. I had to put a wall between them so they don't shoot each other, but otherwise everything's going fairly smoothly. Let's get this one started because he's going to start off the slowest. There we go. And then this one, and then let's follow on behind. A nice view of the Enderman farm as we drive by. Everything's going really, really well right now. We're almost back to the main island right there. All right, they're going up there. Everything's looking great. We can jump off here. The empty cart shouldn't hurt the Pez dispenser any. Yep, so there we go. And I think everything's all set and ready. I guess we'll just find out the hard way. So if I push this button, one of them, he does take a little bit of damage. Hopefully that doesn't make everything too bad. Let's see how this works. Hopefully I didn't miss a spot. And there he is. All right, finally. Oh, that's fantastic. And then if I push this button, he's in the overworld now. So let's go find him. I think they actually go to 0, 0 and not the spawn chunks. So I wanted to test one first to see where he goes, and then I can maybe set up the area. All right, that's not good. We're at 0, 0. We're very close to it. This isn't the spawn chunks. My spawn chunks are at like -200, -400, so they're in that direction a little bit. So that's actually kind of nice because it means I can set up this area. But he died, and I'm guessing that's the result of leaving a minecart and taking all that cumulative damage that I didn't think was damaging them. So I'm probably going to have to change up my routine a little bit and make sure they don't take damage from falling in minecarts. I've set up a more traditional rail queue system here. So it's a real simple system here. There's a detector rail right there that fires off the piston behind it. And then this first piston is just held by a torch. If I hit this button, it's going to release him, and it'll release the next one, which will go into there. So we'll see that work in a second. And then I had a bit of an Enderman on the rails problem. I'm pretty sure they can't go over normal straight rails, but they definitely can walk over these angle rails like this. So that was causing some problems, and then they would bounce back and run all the way back to there. So that was no fun. But yeah, so I did build this, so they shouldn't have taken any damage here. I was much more careful when extracting them from the end city, so they should have taken no damage up until this point. So if I free this guy, we can see that work. So yep, nice and easy. And let's send him to the overworld, and man, I really hope this works. Alright. Find a spot. Must be... Oh my god, did I miss one? Oh, I missed this whole underside. Alright, well, let's fix that. Alright, here we go. Let's jump on through and see... It's nighttime. I've prepped up this area, so hopefully... Where in the world did he go? This is 0, right there. Unless there's a cave underneath or something like that. So apparently he did come through. He just came through to the spawn chunks. And I was pretty sure they're supposed to come to 0, 0. And I don't know what that other shulker shell was, because how else would it have gotten there except if a shulker was there and then died. But we've got the other one that came from the first set, and I figured he just died and didn't drop a shulker shell, but apparently he went to spawn chunks. So we've got 2 here at spawn chunks. I'm going to count that as a win. There's still quite a bit I need to do. I need to prep up this area if I can. It's going to be hard, and I need to figure out a way to get them into the nether. I've got some ideas, but I'm going to end on a win because this is a win. I've got 2 shulkers here, and I can probably transport the other 2 fairly easily. I'll probably wait until Seth sets something up. But I've got, yeah, I mean, this is working. So I just got to figure out more details, and I don't want to tempt fate by trying something new and then having a bunch of problems. Like I said, I want to end on a win. So this is a win. I'm actually really happy about this. I actually had quite a bit of fun working with those shulkers, and I hope you enjoyed it as well, despite me having a little bit of fumbling there. There were a few moments in there that were a little bit frustrating, but, you know, that's just kind of the way Minecraft works, especially when you're working with something new. I know the first time I tried moving villagers, it went much the same way. I tried a bunch of different things, and I ended up killing a bunch of villagers, way more villagers than I've killed shulkers so far. And then eventually you iron everything out, and you get it working, and then you get pretty good at it, and you know what you need. And I think the same thing is happening with the shulkers. And it's funny that the one thing that I thought would be the hardest, actually getting the shulkers into the minecarts, ended up being one of the easiest things. And the hardest parts is everything after that. But I think once I've got the path from the end into the nether all constructed, you know, there's going to be a little bit of grindiness to collecting the 71 shulkers, but there shouldn't be too much more trouble once all that's set up. As a final note, I'd like to thank Ali, I hope I'm pronouncing that correct, who pointed out in the comments that zombies turning villagers into zombie villagers is based on difficulty. And I had not realized that when I switched to 1.15, I was in hard mode in 1.14. And when I switched to 1.15, I forgot to copy over the server properties. And so it switched me over to easy mode. So zombies turn into zombie villagers 0% of the time in easy mode. 50% of the time in normal mode, which is what my creative world was in, and that's what we saw last episode, and 100% of the time in hard mode. So it wouldn't have affected much else except for I had a wither fight where I get hit once, and that should have given me the wither effect. Easy mode doesn't do that. And I did switch to hard mode before fighting the Ender Dragon. I just didn't want to interrupt the video to make note about that. But yeah, I've switched over to hard mode now. It was just an accident. I didn't even realize. And so now my zombies should turn into zombie villagers 100% of the time. That's all I have for today's episode. I want to thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.